mean, it's just, I don't know why you need it, but we shall do it, just because it's one of those things where, who knows, it probably actually comes up on your next test too. Somebody remember point slope like this is a test?
This all the
Point slope form of linear equations. And just as a quick review, again, we have the other two forms. You've got standard form, which is ax plus by equals c, and you've got slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. Point slope form, here is the generic form of it. It looks like this. Y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. This is your generic form. Just know that m is still slope, just like it was slope in slope-intercept form. It's the same letter m. And really what they do is they take any point that's on your graph. Let's say you've got the point 5, 3, and they take those numbers, and this is your y number. It goes in for y sub 1. And this x number goes in for x sub 1. And let's just say the slope is 1/2. So rewriting this in a form that you might see out there, you would get this. Y minus 3 equals 1/2 times x minus 5. This would be something you would see on something. That would be in point slope form. La-di-da-di. Which means this. Let's say you were asked to graph this. If you were asked to graph this, children, here's how that would break down. Okay, you know the slope is 1/2, right? So you know if you can find one point, you can graph the whole line. Well, you can find a point. This is though where you have to be careful. You can find a point because you have a y value and you have an x value. So you can get a coordinates. You can get a point. You can get an ordered pair from it.
5, 3.
The only, because you know what we started with, but you have to be careful with that. Don't let this confuse you. You see a minus there and you might think it's -3, and you see a minus there and you might think it's -5. You have to do the opposite of what you see there. In other words, if it's negative, it actually is positive. The point you're going to use is 5 and 3. So you find the point 5, 3. Once you get that point, then you can use the slope to graph it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. And from that point, it's a positive 1/2 slope. So it goes up 1/2 or down 1/2, however you want to say it. That is slope-intercept form. Which is easy because I gave you the starting point. I'm going to give you one where you don't have the starting point and see if you can do it. Well, we'll do it together because I don't want to. So let's say you have this. Y plus 6 equals -5/8 times x minus 4. And I asked you to graph that. Again, this is not hard, but it is confusing. So that's why you need to kind of jot some notes down, and maybe we should write this down. Okay, first of all, this is your slope. We know my slope is -5/8. But to get the points, okay, this is my y point, my y value, but you have to think opposite. So my y is not +6, y is the opposite of that, which is a -6. and x is not minus 4, x is the opposite of minus 4 plus 4. This is your starting point at 4, negative 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And your slope is negative 5/8, which means you go up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 8. I'll go this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Going downhill, so I have to pick this one. That would be my thingamabobber there. What kind of questions did they ask you? All right. Now, so here we go. We're going to put a combination of things together, which is going to really and truly rock your world. Let's say you have these 2 points. You have you have 1, negative 3, and 4, 5. And I ask you to do 2 things. Let's see how good you really are. I ask you to give the equation of that line in both. Let's do all 3, just because you're smart. I want you to give the equation of that line in standard form, in slope-intercept form, and in point, what is it? Point slope? Point slope. Without graphing it, by the way. Faith says, how in the world and what in the world? Who in the world? Well, the first thing we need to do, ladies and gentlemen.
Find the slope.
Thank you. We need to find the slope of that line.
Which you use whatever that equation is called.
Yeah, look at Tyler. The wheels sometimes spin in strange directions in Tyler's head, but yes.
Exactly.
First thing you need to do is find the slope, because you need slope for both slope-intercept and point slope. And you probably can figure that out. So what is our little slope formula?
Oh, y sub 1 minus y sub 2 over x sub 1 minus x sub 2.
Or is it x2 minus x1?
It's 2 minus 1 of it.
2 minus 1. And that doesn't matter as long as you're consistent on both, by the way. You remember that slope thing? People, you were here for it. I think we did it 7th grade. It was in the last book, right? In order to do that, then, Carter Westfall, what am I going to start off doing? I'm going to label these. This is my x1, y1. This is my x2, y2. I'm going to plug it in there and see if I can't find my slope of this line. So what? I'm going, what, 5 minus a negative 3?
Yeah.
And 4 minus 1. This isn't going to work out, is it? I would have thought the book could have helped me out a little bit on this one.
8 over 3.
Got 8. This is minus a negative, so it's plus 3. It gives you 8. 4 minus 1 is 3. My slope, ladies and gentlemen, is 8/3. Stop me if you're confused on that. We did that earlier in the year. Everybody's pretty happy and excited about that. Now, with that, boys and girls and children of all ages, which one of these things can I do right now that's very easy?
Point slope.
Why? Because you have the slope and
The point.
you have a point. So let's do it. And by the way, and this is why I don't get point slope so much, it doesn't matter which one you put in point slope. You get to pick whichever one you put in. So if I do that, let's look. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. I know my m is 8/3. Wait, is this in parentheses 2 all the time or not? No. That's what I want in parentheses. And so here's the deal. Which point do you want to use?
Oh, 1 comma negative 3.
Let's go with 4 or 5.
Okay.
Alright, so here's my y. So this is y minus 5, right? That's my y value. my x is x minus 4. Right?
Yes.
So one thing is done. Here is point slope.
How would you do the other one? Would you still make it be y minus 3?
But yeah, the other one would be, except it'd be y would be y minus negative 3, so it'd actually end up being y plus 3, because you're minusing a negative, and this would be x minus 1. Maybe we should have done that one. Now, I will entertain from somebody except Tyler Connor. Once I know this, can I figure out these other two?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Which one should we figure out? Slope, intercept. Well, I know the slope, right? Really, the only way to do this, children, is you actually need to simplify this whole thing. Which means I actually need to multiply this out to see what I get. And it's going to get ugly, and I probably shouldn't have done it because it's really going to throw some of you for a proverbial loop, but let's do it. So I get y minus 5, right? What is 8/3 times x?
8/3 x.
And what is 8/3 times negative 4? Wow, look at you. Negative 32 over 3. Ugly numbers there, right? Carter Alton White?
Yes.
But, ladies and gentlemen, listen to me very carefully, Brant. I could make it a whole lot prettier by doing what? Does anybody know?
Subtract, no.
How can I get rid of all the fractions?
Multiplying all by 3 over 1.
Just 3. If I multiply everything by 3, all these fractions go away. So if I multiply this by 3, multiply this by 3, multiply this by 3, multiply this by 3. Nothing, it doesn't change my equation. It's still going to be equal as long as I multiply everything by 3. So I end up with 3y minus 15 equals 8x minus 32. Now, Carter Alton Boyd, which of these forms will be real easy for me to figure out? Give you a clue, it's not point slope.
Standard.
It's not slope intercept. Yeah, standard. Why? Because what is standard? Standard is just everything on the left side, the numbered letters on the left side, numbers on the right. So I just need to, well, I'm going to move, I don't want my x to be negative, so I'm going to move my 3y to this side. I subtract 3y. So I get minus 3y over here. Now I'm going to add 32 to get it over here. 15 plus 32 is 17. Whoever was saying it didn't want to. What does 17 equal? 8x minus 3y. And look it, we're done with this one. Congratulations, one and all. This is standard form. This one is point slope. And how do I get slope intercept then?
Well, we have the y. We just cover it upside up and get the y intercept. You already have the slope.
Slope intercept, what's the easiest way to do it? Anybody? Oh, let's just solve this for y. Because that's what slope intercept is, y equals. So I would subtract 8x. So negative 3y equals negative 8x plus 17. Abram, the last thing I'm going to have to do to get y by itself is divide by negative 3. And look how nice that works out. Y equals 8/3 x minus 17/3. And that is
Is it a negative 8/3 x?
slope integer. That was negative divided by negative. Was my slope negative? I don't think it was. The slope wasn't negative over here. It won't be negative here. Who feels relatively excited that they may or may not be slightly disenchanted with half the things that we did? Good, because I have a little worksheet for you to do.
I didn't know what disenchanted meant.
And we're gonna do one or two of these, just to make sure you're on the wrong page, on the right page. Actually, we will do one of each flavor. Right now, if you will, right where you're at, do, if you feel, we're gonna do 1, 7, and let's do 1, 7, and 12. See if you can get 1, 7, and 12 without a whole lot of assistance from the teacher. 1, 7, and 12 again. As I stated before, I don't quite get the whole point of point slope, but you want to find the thing here. 1, 7, and 12. There's something here. Point slope. Please tell me this is it. There it is. There. You should be done with 1, by the way. Are we done with 1? Stop right where you're at. Problem number 1 should look like this. All you're doing is filling in the blanks. They gave you everything you need to know. The formula, right here is your M and right here is your point. This is your Y point. This is your X point. So it looks like this. Y minus 7 equals negative 4 times X minus 2. Game, set, match. Right?
Yeah.
Alright, do the next one. Make sure you get the next one. We're gonna find it. Not on it. On it. Which one did I say? 7. Ooh, a nice graphic one. 7. We done with 7 yet? Yes? Seven. You already know the slope, which is negative 3. You just need to find a point on the graph. And what would said point be, Parker? I need to find one point on my grid, on my coordinate system, and then from there I can use the slope to find the graph. Brant, what's the point?
It'd be negative 2, negative 4.
Correct. This is your X point, but you have to think opposite, so it's a negative 2. This is your Y point. Again, think it's opposite because it's minus Y, so it has to be negative 4. That is the one point you need. Negative 2, negative 4. And from there, you know it's a negative 3 slope, so it's 3 over 1. 1, 2, 3, it's downhill, so you have to go this way. 1, 2, 3, downhill, so this way. Down 3, down 1. Something like that. How many people got the point right? Only 2. I told you. I warned you about that. And then the last one. I can only tell you so many times. Which was what, 12? No. Where's 12? Oh, write the equation. And there are, by the way, there are 2 answers to 12. I can't change it, that's why I don't like this. You're 2 different. You only have to give 1, but there are 2 that you could pick. And you should be done. You done, Oyken boy? What do we come up with the slope? Slope is 3 up, 1 over, so it has a positive 3 slope. So no matter what, you should have a 3 there. The real question is what you're putting in the other things here. Now, well, let's pick a point. If you pick this point, it's what? 2, negative 2. So if I put this 2 in for x, it's x minus 2. If I put the negative 2 in, because this was negative y, negative 2 actually makes it 2 plus y plus 2. This would be one choice. The other choice would be this one, which is what? 1, 2, 3, comma 1, which means they both be minus y minus 1, because that's the y point, 3 times x minus 3. Either one of these would be fine. You don't have to give them both. How many people got that one? Alright. Alright, your assignment then. Finish up that sheet. Yeah. Really, it shouldn't take you that long.